Nothing like teaching algebra to kids who think TikTok is a career path. My name is Greg Blair, and at 43, I've mastered the art of explaining quadratic equations to teenagers who'd rather solve the mystery of their next viral dance. But today, staring at my wife Cara across our kitchen table, I'm facing a different kind of equation, one where the variables keep changing and the answer might just blow up my entire life. You're not listening to me, Greg. Cara's voice cuts through my morning coffee haze like a rusty blade. She's clutching her phone, again, like it's a lifeline to somewhere better than our Rust Belt City kitchen, with its peeling linoleum and the coffee maker I've been meaning to replace for 3 years. I'm listening, I lie, watching her manicured fingers dance across the screen. She caresses that phone more than she's touched me in months. You were saying something about another late night at the office? Open house, she corrects, not looking up. Big property downtown. Troy thinks we can close by Friday. Troy Mason. Even his name sounds like it was designed by a marketing team selling overpriced cologne. Cara's mentioned her new real estate broker boss exactly 47 times in the past 2 weeks. Not that I'm counting or anything. Troy thinks a lot of things, I mutter, earning myself one of Cara's patented eye rolls. Our 17-year-old daughter, Maddie, shuffles into the kitchen, her dark hair a perfect storm of bedhead rebellion. She's got my sarcastic streak and her mother's stubborn chin, which makes for interesting dinner conversations. Morning, Dad. Mom, you're texting at breakfast again. Maddie grabs the cereal box and shoots me a knowing look. At least Dad waits until we're gone before he checks his fantasy football scores. It's work, Maddie, Cara snaps, finally setting the phone down. Some of us have careers that require constant communication. I bite back my response about teaching being a career, too. Cara's been climbing the real estate ladder for 2 years now, ever since she got tired of being a math teacher's wife in a town where that doesn't buy you much more than a mortgage on a fixer-upper and the right to complain about property taxes. Speaking of communication, I say, Mrs. Henderson called yesterday. Apparently you missed Maddie's parent-teacher conference. Cara's face flushes. I told you I had a showing. Troy needed -- quote. Troy needed you to miss our daughter's conference? My voice stays level, but there's an edge creeping in. What exactly does Troy need that's more important than Maddie's education? The silence stretches like taffy. Maddie crunches her cereal loudly, probably wishing she'd stayed in bed. You wouldn't understand, Cara finally says. This is about building something bigger than this. She waves her hand around our kitchen like she's gesturing at a crime scene. This is our home, Cara. Our family. This is a dead end, Greg. Some of us want more. Maddie stands up abruptly. I'm walking to school. Dad, can you pick me up after practice? Mom will probably be busy with Troy's needs. The way she says needs tells me our daughter isn't as oblivious as we'd like to think. Kids see everything, even when we think we're being subtle. After Maddie leaves, Cara retreats to our bedroom to get ready for work. I hear her talking in hushed tones, another phone call she doesn't want me to overhear. The walls in our house are thin, but apparently not thin enough for her to remember I exist. I finish my coffee and head to Jefferson High, where I've been teaching for 15 years. The building looks like every other public school built in the 70s. Brick and broken dreams, with fluorescent lights that flicker like dying hopes. Morning, Greg. Ray Martinez, the head janitor, waves from behind his cart. Ray's been at Jefferson longer than anyone, and he knows more about what goes on in this building than the principal. How's married life treating you? Like a math problem I can't solve, I reply, which gets a chuckle from Ray. Women are like algebra, my friend. Just when you think you've got the formula figured out, they change all the variables. If only Ray knew how right he was. My first period is advanced algebra, the smart kids who actually want to learn. They file in with their color-coded notebooks and caffeinated determination, ready to tackle whatever mathematical nightmare I throw at them. Today we're talking about systems of equations, I announce, writing on the whiteboard. Sometimes you have multiple unknowns, and you need to solve for all of them simultaneously. Sarah Jenkins, my star pupil, raises her hand. What if one of the equations is lying to you? The question hits closer to home than she realizes. Interesting point, Sarah. In math, equations don't lie, but in real life. I pause, thinking about Cara's late nights and mysterious phone calls. In real life, sometimes you need to check your work. After school, I drive home through our neighborhood of modest houses and overgrown lawns. Our place sits at the end of Maple Street, a 2-story colonial that Cara once called charming and now refers to as adequate. The garage has become my sanctuary, a workshop where I build furniture and cabinets, creating something solid in a world that feels increasingly unstable. I'm sanding a bookshelf when I hear Cara's car pull into the driveway. Through the window, I watch her sit in the driver's seat for several minutes, phone pressed to her ear, laughing at something the caller is saying. She looks happier talking to whoever's on that phone than she's looked talking to me in months. Greg? She pokes her head into the garage. I'm going out tonight. Another showing. On a Tuesday night? Troy says the client can only meet after hours. You know how it is. I don't know how it is, actually. When I worked part-time at the hardware store during summers, we never had customers who could only meet at 9 o'clock at night. But I nod anyway, because that's what I do. I nod and sand my bookshelf and pretend everything's normal. Will you be late? Probably. Don't wait up. She disappears back into the house, leaving me alone with the smell of sawdust and the growing certainty that my wife is lying to me. That night, I can't sleep. At 11:30, I hear Cara's key in the front door, followed by hushed phone conversation in the kitchen. I creep to the top of the stairs and catch fragments of her voice. Amazing tonight. Can't wait to see you again. He'll never know? My stomach drops like an elevator with cut cables. I retreat to our bedroom and pretend to be asleep when she slips in beside me, smelling like unfamiliar cologne and lies. The next morning, Cara's in the shower when her phone buzzes on the nightstand. The screen lights up with a text from Troy Kiss, because apparently my wife's boss needs a kissing emoji next to his name. The message preview reads, "Last night was incredible. When can we—" I don't need to see the rest. The equation I've been trying to solve suddenly has all its variables in place, and the answer is devastating. But here's the thing about being a math teacher. You learn to be methodical. You don't just guess at answers. You show your work. And if I'm going to solve this particular problem, I need more data. Over the next week, I become a student of my wife's deception. I note the patterns, Tuesday and Thursday, showings, weekend open houses, and the way she guards her phone like it contains state secrets. She's developed new habits too. Expensive perfume, gym memberships, and a sudden interest in clothes that cost more than my monthly car payment. Dad, you okay? Maddie asks one evening as we work on her calculus homework. You seem distracted. Just thinking about work stuff, I lie, though it's not entirely untrue. This has become work, the full-time job of documenting my marriage's collapse. Mom's working a lot lately, she observes, not looking up from her textbook. She's building her career. Is that what we're calling it? My daughter's too smart for her own good. Or maybe she's just inherited my talent for seeing patterns where others see coincidence. That Friday, Cara announces another late night. Big client, she explains. Troy thinks this could be our biggest sale yet. Our biggest sale? The company's biggest sale. You know what I mean. But I'm starting to think I know exactly what she means, and it has nothing to do with real estate. After she leaves, I make a decision that will change everything. I drive to downtown, to the address Cara gave me for her showing. It's a trendy restaurant called Meridian, not a house for sale. Through the window, I see my wife at a corner table, leaning across the table toward a man with silver hair and a gym membership he actually uses. Troy Mason in the flesh. He's everything I'm not. Polished, confident, wearing a suit that probably costs more than I make in a month. And he's holding my wife's hand like he owns it. I sit in my car for an hour, watching them laugh and touch and act like a couple who aren't destroying a 17-year marriage and breaking apart a family. When they finally leave, together in Troy's red Mustang, I follow at a distance to his downtown condo. The lights in his apartment stay on until well past midnight. I drive home alone, past the sleeping houses of my neighbors, past the life I thought I understood, and into a future I'm going to have to build from scratch. But first, I'm going to make sure Cara and Troy pay for what they've stolen from me. Saturday morning arrives gray and drizzling, matching my mood perfectly. Cara's still asleep when I get up to make coffee, probably exhausted from her late-night showing. I'm standing at the kitchen window, watching rain beat on the glass, when Maddie joins me. You were gone last night, she says quietly. I heard your car leave around 9. My daughter misses nothing. Just went for a drive. Needed to clear my head. Find what you were looking for? I look at her. Really look at her. She has my eyes but Cara's determined chin, and right now she's studying me with the intensity of someone trying to solve a complex equation. Yeah, I say finally. I think I did. Good. Because Mom's been acting weird for months, and you've been pretending not to notice. Before I can respond, Cara appears in the doorway, wrapped in the silk robe I bought her for Christmas. Her hair's tousled, and she looks younger somehow, like she's been sleeping better than she has in years. Morning, she says, avoiding my eyes as she pours coffee. I'll probably be working again today. Troy wants to show the Morrison property to some investors from Chicago. On Saturday? I ask. Real estate doesn't follow a Monday through Friday schedule, Greg. You'd understand if you had any ambition beyond teaching high school kids about polynomials. The comment stings because it's designed to. Cara's been sharpening her words lately, turning conversations into weapons. Dad's polynomials pay for this house, Maddie says coldly. And they'll pay for my college tuition, too. Some things are more important than security, Cara replies. Some people want to actually live their lives instead of just existing. Some people honor their commitments, I say quietly. The silence that follows is loaded with 17 years of shared history and recent betrayal. Cara's face flushes, but she doesn't back down. Maybe some commitments aren't worth honoring anymore. It's as close to an admission as I'm likely to get. Maddie's eyes widen, and I see the exact moment my daughter realizes her parents' marriage is over. "I'm going to Sarah's house," Maddie announces, grabbing her backpack. "Call me when you two figure out how to be adults." After she leaves, Cara retreats to our bedroom to get ready for another day of work. I sit at the kitchen table, staring at the coffee growing cold in my cup, and make a decision that will change everything. I'm done being the oblivious husband. It's time to level the playing field. My first stop is Best Buy, where I purchase a small digital recorder, the kind students use to record lectures. The salesman, a kid barely older than my students, explains how it can be voice-activated and has 12 hours of memory. "Planning to record meetings?" he asks. "Something like that." Next, I visit my old college roommate Danny, who now runs a small tech company downtown. Danny's always been better with computers than people, which makes him perfect for what I need. "I want to know if someone's cheating," I tell him over coffee at his cluttered office. "Divorce case?" "Personal case." Danny studies me for a long moment. "How personal?" "The kind where I need to know the truth before I decide what to do about it." He nods slowly. "I can't help you hack into anything illegal, Greg, but I can show you some publicly available tools that might be educational." An hour later, I leave Danny's office with a crash course in digital surveillance and a small device that can track a phone's location, provided you have physical access to install the app. That evening, while Cara's in the shower, I borrow her phone under the pretense of checking the weather. It takes less than 3 minutes to install Danny's tracking app and hide it in a folder of shopping apps she never uses. I also discover her text history with Troy, which reads like a romance novel written by someone with no imagination and questionable grammar. The highlights include, "Can't wait to feel your strong arms around me again. Greg is so boring compared to you. You make me feel alive. When we're together, I forget all about my old life. I think I'm falling in love with you." That last one hits like a punch to the solar plexus. Falling in love. As if love is something you trip into accidentally, rather than something you build over 17 years of shared dreams and disappointments. I screenshot the most damaging messages and email them to myself, then delete the evidence of my digital trespassing. When Cara emerges from the bathroom, I'm sitting on our bed, reading a book about woodworking techniques. "What are you reading?" she asks, toweling her hair. "Learning new skills," I reply. You never know when you might need to build something from scratch. She doesn't catch the double meaning, but I see her glance nervously at her phone on the nightstand. Sunday passes quietly. Cara spends most of it texting and making hushed phone calls, while I work in my garage and Maddie studies for her SATs. We're like 3 strangers sharing the same house, going through the motions of being a family. That night, after everyone's asleep, I sit in my workshop and plan my next move. The digital recorder sits on my workbench like a small black promise. Tomorrow, I'll start gathering the evidence I need to end this marriage on my terms, not Cara's. But first, I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. How long has this been going on? How serious is it? And most importantly, what are they planning for the future? Because if Cara thinks she can destroy our family and walk away without consequences, she's about to learn that even a boring high school math teacher can solve complex problems when he puts his mind to it. The rain continues to fall outside my garage window, washing the world clean for whatever comes next. Monday morning brings the kind of crisp October weather that makes everything seem possible. I pack the digital recorder in my jacket pocket and head to school with a sense of purpose I haven't felt in months. "You seem different today," Ray observes as I pass his janitor's cart in the hallway. "More focused." "Just working on a challenging problem," I reply. "Sometimes you have to change your approach to find the solution." My first period goes smoothly. The kids are actually engaged, working through systems of equations with enthusiasm. Maybe it's because I'm more present, more focused on the task at hand instead of worrying about what Cara's doing with her phone. During lunch, I drive to Meridian Restaurant and find a parking spot across the street. According to the tracking app, Cara's phone is here, which means she's having another business meeting with Troy. I activate the recorder and walk inside. They're at the same corner table, leaning close together like conspirators. Cara's wearing a dress I've never seen before, red silk that probably costs more than our monthly grocery budget. Troy's hand rests on her thigh as they study what looks like real estate listings. I take a table near the bar, order coffee, and listen. "The Henderson property closes Friday," Troy says, his voice carrying clearly in the quiet restaurant. "That's a $15,000 commission." "Our biggest yet," Cara replies, and I notice she says our, not your. "We make a good team," Troy continues, "in business and other areas." They laugh together, the sound grating against my nerves like fingernails on a chalkboard. I keep thinking about what you said, Cara says, about starting fresh somewhere new. Phoenix has opportunities, Troy replies. Clean slate, new market, no baggage from the past. My coffee turns to acid in my stomach. They're not just having an affair, they're planning to leave together. What about Maddie? Cara asks. She's 17, almost an adult. And honestly, Cara, you can't live your life for other people forever. You deserve happiness. Greg would never agree to let her move to Phoenix. Greg doesn't have to agree. You're her mother. You have rights. I grip my coffee cup so hard, I'm surprised it doesn't shatter. They're talking about taking my daughter away like she's a piece of property to be divided up. I just need a little more time, Cara says, to figure out how to handle everything. Don't take too long, Troy warns. Opportunities like this don't wait forever. I've heard enough. I leave cash on the table and walk out, the recorder still running in my pocket. By the time I get back to school, I have a plan. That afternoon, I visit Detective Lisa Hart at the police station. Lisa and I went to college together, and she's one of the few people who knew Cara before she became dissatisfied with our life. Greg Blair, she says, looking up from her desk. What brings you to my humble office? I need advice about a legal matter. Lisa's expression grows serious. What kind of legal matter? I explain the situation carefully. The affair, the plans to move to Phoenix, the talk about taking Maddie. Lisa listens without interrupting, occasionally taking notes. Do you have evidence? She asks when I finish. I play her a portion of the restaurant recording. Her eyebrows rise as she hears Troy and Cara discussing their plans. This is admissible in a divorce proceeding, she says, especially the part about relocating with a minor child. But Greg, you need to be careful how you handle this. If you want to maintain custody of Maddie, you can't do anything that makes you look unstable or vindictive. I'm not planning to do anything illegal, I assure her. But I'm also not going to let them destroy my family without consequences. What kind of consequences are you thinking about? I smile for the first time in weeks. The kind that hurt their reputations more than their bodies. Social consequences, professional consequences, the kind that make them understand exactly what they're throwing away. Lisa nods slowly. Just remember, revenge is a dish best served legally. That evening, I start putting my plan into motion. First, I create anonymous email accounts and begin researching Troy's business practices. It doesn't take long to find irregularities. Client complaints about missed appointments, questionable marketing claims, and at least 3 instances of him showing properties he didn't have authorization to sell. Next, I compile the most damaging text messages between Troy and Cara into a comprehensive file. The evidence paints a clear picture of their affair and their plans to relocate together. Finally, I prepare a special surprise for their next business meeting. Wednesday night, Cara announces another late showing. Big investors from Dallas, she explains. Troy thinks they might buy the entire Riverside development. That's wonderful, I reply. I hope it goes well. She looks surprised by my supportive tone. Thank you. I know this has been hard on our family, all the extra work hours. We all make sacrifices for the things we want, I say, which is absolutely true. After she leaves, I drive to Troy's condo and park across the street. Right on schedule, Cara's car pulls into the visitor parking. She's carrying an overnight bag. I wait 30 minutes, then walk to the building's main entrance. The security door requires a key code, but I don't need to get inside. I just need to be seen trying. Excuse me, I call to a resident entering the building. I'm looking for Troy Mason's apartment. I'm supposed to deliver some documents. The woman, elderly and helpful, points toward the 3rd floor. Unit 3B, but you might want to call first. He has company tonight. What kind of company? A woman, pretty brunette. They've been meeting here regularly for weeks. I thank her and return to my car, satisfied that I now have an independent witness to their affair. Tomorrow, I'll start making sure everyone else knows too. Because if Cara and Troy want to destroy my family, they're going to discover that even a boring math teacher can calculate the exact cost of betrayal. Thursday morning, I wake up with the clarity that comes from having a solid plan. Cara's still asleep, exhausted from her night at Troy's condo. I make coffee and sit at the kitchen table, reviewing my strategy one final time. The beauty of revenge, I've discovered, is in the mathematics of it. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Cara and Troy have been calculating their affair in secret, but they forgot to carry the one. They forgot about consequences. My phone buzzes with a text from Lisa Hart. Hope you're not planning anything stupid, Greg. Call me if you need to talk. I appreciate her concern, but I'm past the talking stage. Today, I'm going to solve this equation once and for all. First stop, Jefferson High. I teach my morning classes with unusual enthusiasm, explaining probability theory to kids who normally couldn't care less about math. The thing about probability, I tell my 3rd period class, is that unlikely events become inevitable given enough time. If you flip a coin long enough, you'll eventually get 10 heads in a row. If you lie long enough, you'll eventually get caught. Sarah Jenkins raises her hand. What's the probability of getting away with cheating? Depends on how smart the person you're cheating is, I reply, and how much evidence you leave behind. During lunch, I drive to Cara's real estate office. Pinnacle Properties occupies the ground floor of a renovated downtown building, all glass and chrome and motivational posters about reaching new heights. I walk in carrying a large manila envelope and approach the receptionist, a young woman with too much makeup and not enough experience. I need to speak with the manager, I say. It's about Troy Mason and Cara Blair. Is this regarding a property listing? It's regarding professional conduct. 5 minutes later, I'm sitting across from Janet Morrison, the office manager. She's a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who's built her reputation on running a clean operation. Now, what can I do for you, Mr. Blair? I slide the envelope across her desk. I have information about an inappropriate relationship between two of your employees that's affecting their professional judgment. Janet opens the envelope and examines the text message screenshots, her expression growing more serious with each page. This is quite serious, she says finally. Do you have any evidence that this relationship has affected their work performance? I play her the restaurant recording where Troy and Cara discuss client commissions as our money and their plans to relocate together. I'll need to investigate this immediately, Janet says. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. There's one more thing, I add. They're planning to make a major announcement soon. You might want to handle this before they try to damage your company's reputation further. I leave the office feeling lighter than I have in weeks. Step 1 complete. That afternoon, I pick up Maddie from school. She's been quiet lately, sensing the tension at home, but not knowing how to address it. Dad, can I ask you something? She says as we drive home. Always. Are you and Mom getting divorced? I pull into our driveway and turn off the engine. Probably, sweetheart. I'm sorry. Is it because of Troy? My daughter's directness still surprises me. How do you know about Troy? Mom's been different since she started working with him. Happier, but not with us. Happier with her phone and her new clothes and her mysterious meetings. She pauses. Plus, she talks in her sleep sometimes. She says his name. I'm sorry you've had to deal with this, Maddie. None of it is your fault. I know, but what happens now? Now we figure out what comes next, together. That evening, Cara comes home early, looking shaken. She finds me in the garage, working on a new project, a jewelry box for Maddie's 18th birthday. We need to talk, she says. I don't look up from my sanding. About what? Janet Morrison called me into her office today. Someone gave her information about Troy and me. What kind of information? You know what kind. Her voice is tight with barely controlled anger. Text messages, photos, audio recordings. I finally look at her. Sounds serious. Don't play dumb, Greg. I know it was you. I don't know what you're talking about. But if someone's been documenting your behavior, maybe you should ask yourself why that information is so damaging. Cara's face flushes red. You had no right to spy on me. I had every right to protect my family. You're my wife, Cara. Or did you forget that while you were planning your new life in Phoenix? The color drains from her face. How did you... I know everything. The affair, the plans to relocate, the discussions about taking Maddie away from me. Did you really think you could destroy our family without consequences? Our family was already destroyed, she shouts. We've been living like strangers for years. So you decided to make it official by sleeping with your boss? Troy understands me in ways you never could. He sees my potential instead of trying to keep me small and safe and boring. Troy sees an opportunity, I correct, and you're too flattered by the attention to realize you're being used. Before Cara can respond, we hear a car door slam in the driveway. Through the garage window, I see Troy's red Mustang parked behind Cara's car. You called him? I ask. He's here to support me. He's here because Janet Morrison fired him this afternoon, and he needs someone to blame. Troy storms into the garage like he owns the place. He's still handsome in a catalog model way, but there's desperation in his eyes that wasn't there before. You son of a bitch, he snarls, pointing at me. You cost me my job. You cost us everything. I didn't cost you anything, I reply calmly. Your choices did that. My choices? You're the one who went sneaking around with recording devices like some kind of stalker. I documented the truth. If the truth cost you your job, maybe you should have made better choices. Troy takes a step toward me, his hands clenched into fists. You think you're so smart, don't you? The clever little teacher who solved the mystery. Smart enough to protect my family from people who would destroy it. Your family? Troy laughs bitterly. Cara hasn't been part of your family for months. She's been part of mine. Is that what you told her? That she was part of your family? I shake my head. Let me guess. You're married too, aren't you, Troy? Wife and kids somewhere who don't know about your extracurricular activities. The look on his face confirms my suspicion. Cara's expression shifts from anger to confusion. Troy, she says quietly, What is he talking about? It's complicated, Troy mutters. It's not complicated at all, I continue. Troy's been playing both sides, Cara. Telling you what you wanted to hear while keeping his options open. Did he mention his wife when he was making plans to move to Phoenix? Or did that detail slip his mind? You're lying, Cara says, but her voice lacks conviction. I pull out my phone and show her the private investigator's report I commissioned yesterday. Patricia Mason, married to Troy for 12 years. 2 children, ages 8 and 10. Lives in Westfield, about 20 minutes from his condo. Cara stares at the photos of Troy's real family, the wife and kids he never mentioned during their romantic dinners and weekend getaways. You bastard, she whispers, turning on Troy. You're married? It's not what you think, Troy protests. Patricia and I have been separated for months. We're getting divorced. Then why are there photos of you at your son's soccer game last weekend? I ask, scrolling through more pictures. Same weekend you told Cara you were visiting your sick mother in Cleveland. The garage falls silent except for the sound of Cara's world crashing down around her. She looks back and forth between Troy and me, finally understanding that she's been played by both of us. Troy as the manipulator, me as the detective. Get out, she says to Troy. Get out of my house and don't come back. Cara, let me explain. Get out! Troy looks like he wants to argue, but something in my expression changes his mind. He backs toward the door, pointing at me one last time. This isn't over, he threatens. Yes, it is, I reply. It's been over since the moment you decided to destroy my family. You just didn't know it yet. After Troy leaves, Cara and I stand in the garage surrounded by the wreckage of our marriage. The jewelry box I've been building for Maddie sits on the workbench between us, half finished and waiting for better days. I suppose you want me to apologize? Cara says finally. I want you to understand what you've lost, I reply. Not just me, but the life we built together. The trust, the partnership, the future we planned. That future felt like a prison, Greg. And now? She doesn't answer, but I can see the realization dawning in her eyes. Troy's betrayal has shown her that her escape plan was just another kind of cage. What happens now? She asks. Now we get divorced. Cleanly, honestly, without destroying each other or our daughter. You find a new place to live, a new job, a new life. I keep the house and primary custody of Maddie. And if I fight you, I gesture toward the evidence file on my workbench. Then I use everything I've documented to show a judge exactly why you're not fit to have custody of our daughter. Your choice. Cara stares at the file for a long moment, then nods slowly. I never meant for it to go this far. But it did. And now we both have to live with the consequences. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my garage on a Saturday morning, putting the finishing touches on Maddie's jewelry box. The divorce was finalized last month. Cara moved to an apartment across town and found a job with a different real estate company. Troy moved back in with his wife, who apparently decided their marriage was worth saving after all. Maddie appears in the doorway, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need caffeine, she says, handing me a mug. Thanks, sweetheart. How are you doing with everything? Better, she says honestly. I miss Mom sometimes, but I like the peace. No more mysterious phone calls or weird tension at dinner. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm not. It taught me something important about relationships. They only work when both people are honest about what they want. My daughter's wisdom never ceases to amaze me. Speaking of what you want, have you decided on a college? State University. I want to study mathematics education. Following in your old man's footsteps, someone has to carry on the family tradition of explaining polynomials to ungrateful teenagers. We laugh together, and for the first time in months, everything feels exactly as it should be. I've learned that some equations can't be solved, they can only be simplified. And sometimes, the simplest answer is also the most honest one. Cara chose her path, and I chose mine. In the end, that's all any of us can do. Make our choices and live with the mathematics of consequence. I finish sanding the jewelry box and hand it to Maddie. Early birthday present. She opens it carefully, revealing the velvet-lined interior and the small mirror I installed in the lid. It's beautiful, Dad. Thank you. You're welcome. And Maddie? Whatever choices you make in life, make sure they're ones you can live with. Because in the end, we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror. She nods solemnly, understanding the deeper meaning behind my words. We've both learned hard lessons about love and betrayal, about the difference between what we want and what we need. But we've also learned that sometimes the most devastating losses can lead to the most important discoveries. I discovered that I'm stronger than I thought, more capable of protecting what matters most. Maddie discovered that she can depend on me no matter what storms we face. And Cara? Cara discovered that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's just a different shade of brown. As I watch my daughter examine her new jewelry box, I realize that this is what victory looks like. Not the dramatic confrontation or the public humiliation, but this quiet moment of connection with the person who matters most. The equation of my marriage may have been unsolvable, but the equation of fatherhood is beautifully simple. Love plus commitment equals everything that truly matters.